this be? Talk to me. Okay.
Donald Schultz, Foxtrot 2, 1267.
Great.
I was a draftee. When I got drafted, the first thing I thought of was what my father told me when I was a little boy. If you ever have to go into service, you want to be an officer. When they tested us, I passed the test. Then they asked where you wanted to go. I selected the Quartermaster Corps and Transportation Corps because I had previously been employed by DuPont, and I had been involved in logistics types of operations. And I felt that if I was in the military, I shouldn't be combat arms because the only career path that led to was the mafia, and that was unacceptable in our society. So the end result was I got assigned to the Transportation Corps, and I came to Fort Eustis in December of '66. It was a great experience. I made a lot of friends. It was fun. It was educational. The one gentleman, John Redmond, he and I have been friends since OCS. We've done a lot of things together with our families. He's here today. OCS also contributed heavily to my experience, in enhancing my experience in civilian life. When I came out of the service, I went back to DuPont, and I specifically went to the then Transportation Department and did some distribution planning and analysis. And then after a year, because they had a need and because of my military background, they assigned me to be responsible for worldwide distribution of commercial explosives. So I did that for like 3 years, and then I was an assistant manager with the international division responsible for ocean air transportation of DuPont products. In that position, I had an opportunity to travel around the world. Later on, I was assigned to reanalyze the explosives distribution worldwide and traveled around the world dealing with government officials and steamship line officials to get permission to ship commercial explosives through normal commercial facilities, which it didn't do. And I implemented the utilization of containers with commercial explosives because the military had been doing it for some time. Coast Guard was not aware of that, and I used that knowledge to break that barrier. And I think today all commercial explosives actually move via normal ocean carriers, which is a very significant thing because it's much more, it's safer and it's routine. So there's no question that OCS really enhanced my civilian career. I would not be the person I am today without that. I've thoroughly enjoyed the military. I spent a year in Vietnam. I was running ports down in the Delta, Canto, Dong Tam. Last 6 months I was a general's aide for Brigadier General Arthur Hero at Saigon Support Command, which is a extremely valuable experience. It really made me appreciate the knowledge and skill of the people in the chain of command. I've been to all levels and seen all types, but General Hero had nothing but brilliant people surrounding him, and he was a brilliant man, plus a personality. And a side story was when I was in OCS, Colonel Hero, who was a transportation officer, but in reality, in World War II, he served with General Patton in General Abrams' company, and Abe and he were very close friends, and Abe brought General Hero to Vietnam to help solve logistics problems at Saigon Support Command. But to go back to OCS, Hero used to speak to the classes about staying in for a career, and he was doing a comparison of military life with civilian life, and he asked if there were any questions. I raised my hand, and he proceeded to ask me a lot of questions like, do you wear a suit and tie every day? Yes. That's your uniform, isn't it? And so on. So I supported his case very heavily, and then when he was finished, he said, you can sit down, right? So the end result was, when I was running downtown, he lost his aide. He was going back to the States, and they were looking for an aide. And one of his friends, who was a colonel, came through the port, evaluating the port, and apparently he passed my name on to him, and the rest of his history. But we had a tremendous relationship, and again, I learned a great deal from him. So I have nothing but fine things to say about the military. I would have stayed in, except I had a career in DuPont, and I thought I had more control over what I was going to do.
So, what was your least favorite thing about OCS?
Well, at times I thought it was stupid and immature. Our class consisted of a lot of college graduates, many of whom had had jobs. So, you know, Captain Wood was one of the first company commanders who was instituting the change from the idiocy that they used to go through with destroying billets and things like that. Used to call it nuking the billets. I thought that was all immature and unnecessary. And I think the military was realizing with that, and we didn't experience that at all, okay? I eventually did become a tactical officer at the Foxtrot Company, along with Dave Otterburn, who was also in my class. And, you know, initially I didn't really want it because I knew the kind of hours you'd put in, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm proud of the guys who graduated under me.
Okay, so, as a TAC officer, what was your view of the candidates? I mean, what did you see your role as?
Again, I'm more business oriented, and the military discipline and all was important, but that was coming from other areas. I thought if there was anything I could give them was a sensitivity to doing a great job as a manager, and I actually talked to them as a group in my platoon when we were finished about being sensitive to what it cost to run military operations and trying to do it effectively and efficiently to minimize it. Because I said to them, it's our money, guys. It's our money.
Yeah. Last question, and it may not have an answer. Do you remember anything that was particularly funny or humorous during your time there? Did you look back there?
Yes. Every company had a company laundry officer. Our company laundry officer was Jack Padalino, who was from Little Falls, New Jersey. Not a little, but an Italian guy. Very intense. And one time, we sent our laundry out. And when it came back, when we put our underwear on, the next morning we got out of bed, and we had nothing but shreds on. And everybody was running to his cube to say, Jack, what are you going to do about it? Of course, that had nothing to do with Jack, right? But apparently the laundry had put too much bleach in it and ate all the clothing to pieces.
So it was Commando Day at OCS.
Yes. The other one, this is a good story. My personal friend, John Redmond, when we were senior candidates, he was up on the PT stand doing PT exercises, leading. And Redmond was a Class 6 major out of Stanford University, and he was going to have to do the knee bender. And he got up there and he started talking about Plato and Socrates and how the knee bender was found by medical doctors to be destructive of knees. And the tactical officer is out there yelling, Redmond, get down! Canada, Redmond, get down! he continued, right? It was great. No discipline.
Anything else you'd like to share? Or?
Yes. This is when I was a tactical officer. Well, he wasn't in my platoon. This was 503, Foxtrot 503, which graduated in December of '67. His name was Gustav